Our film begins with an old story about Queen Cleopatra, who ruled Egypt for 20 years. On the day of Habiba Antonio, he gave her 3 eggs as a gift, studded with gold and jewels. When Cleopatra died, the 3 eggs disappeared. I preferred this story as just a legend, and no one believed it. Somehow in the year 1907 an Egyptian farmer, he found 2 eggs by chance, while he was digging in the area of the pyramids of Giza, and after that these 2 eggs were stolen, and they were sold to European countries, but the 3rd egg is missing, and no one knows its location, until now we go to a police investigator named John. And we see him going to the Museum of Rome. What is inside Cleopatra's egg? And this is because it is a link to information that there is a famous thief named Nanel. He intends to steal Dit's egg today, and as soon as he enters the museum, he finds that the egg is there, in its place, so he takes the X-ray machine, and discovers that this egg is fake, and to be sure, he shoots it with soda, and when he finds it floating in front of him, he knows that it is fake and that the original egg was stolen. And he orders the police to lock the museum doors quickly, because he will search everyone. But he finds the thief Nanel coming out of the door, before it locks, and goes out running after him. Nanel escapes from the museum, steals a motorcycle, and runs away. And then he rides and goes, and he sees her, but he hits an ice cream cart in the street, and he can't move, and after 56 hours, Nanel returns home. As soon as no one knows his whereabouts, he doesn't get Cleopatra's egg out of his bag. He finds that Detective John is sitting behind him, and suddenly the police come and storm the place, and the detective takes the egg. She tells him that 18 European countries are wanted for his arrest, because he stole very valuable paintings and treasures from many museums. Nanel is surprised how they knew his place. He learns from John that there is a famous thief named Bisha, who told them about his location, because she is competing with him in stealing, and she wants to get rid of him in any way. And then they arrest him and put him in the car, to take him to prison. John puts the egg in the cart by itself. And when he goes to ride, the driver tells him that the door of the carriage is open, so John is surprised and goes to check on the egg. But he finds her place as she is. And when in Arabic it turns out that he sees that the egg was stolen, and a fake one was put in its place, and the next day the investigator Das comes to talk to John and tell him that this egg is fake, and she throws it on the ground and accuses him of stealing the original egg. And he replaces it with a fake one, and she tells him that she discovered that there are $80 million in it. She transfers it to his bank account at the time the egg was stolen, and this means that he is the one who stole it, so John tries to understand that he is innocent, and he did not steal the egg, but the investigator Das does not believe him and arrests him, and then they put him in a maximum security prison in Russia, and he is surprised that he is in the same cell that Nanel is imprisoned in. And when the time for lunch comes, they are both together, and they say that there is a billionaire in Egypt. Viewer ultimate $1 million. For the person who will bring him the 3 eggs, belonging to Cleopatra, because he wants to present them as a gift to his daughter, in her joy, and explain to him that the 2nd egg is with an arms dealer named Soto. And sure, the thief Bisha made a trap for the 2 of them, in order to put them in prison, and thus she will steal the rest of the eggs and sell them to the billionaire, without anyone standing in her way. But she will not be able to find the 3rd egg, and this is because it is missing and no one knows its final location. So John asks him not to tell the prisoners that he is working as a detective, so that they don't kill him, but Nanel turns out to be evil and says that John will remain a police detective. At that time, one of the prisoners came and kept beating him, until eventually the guards came to rescue him and take him and Nanel to the prison warden's office, because he wants to talk to them, and as soon as they enter the office, they meet Bicho, standing in front of them, and she tells John that she is the one who replaced the original egg with a fake one, and put $8 million in his account, in order to commit the crime of theft, and inform him that she knew that the 2nd egg was with the arms dealer. But the 3rd egg is missing and no one knows its whereabouts except Nanel. She has an audio recording of him saying that, so Nanel is shocked. She offers to give him $50 million if he tells her where the 3rd egg is. She will also get him out of prison, but Nanel refuses, because he does not believe her words, and she tells him that she will know the location of the 3rd egg in her own way. When he returns to the cell, he talks to John about his past in theft, and they decide that they cooperate with each other and escape. The next day they go to the prison laundry room, and put a chemical in the washing machine, which makes it explode. Then they beat the guards and ran towards the door of the prison. But they are surprised that it is locked, so no one comes out the card that opens the door. And he tells John that he stole it from the guard at the door quickly, and they destroy the wall of the prison, and they keep walking on the edge of the wall from the outside until they reach the bridge in a helicopter, so they beat the guard there and see the rest of the guards, and shoot them, so Nanel runs quickly towards the plane, and he wants to leave John and walk, but John sees and goes to jump in the plane, at the last moment, and they both escape from the place. And after that, Nanel goes to meet one of his friend and asks him to take them to the palace of Sotoa, the arms dealer, in order to steal the second egg. On their way, he explains to John the plan to steal the egg, and they say that Sotoa is having a party in his palace, and he is carrying the egg in a safe made of titanium. And it does not open except with the fingerprint of his hand, what in his voice. There is also a password for the safe that changes every 6 minutes. And this number will be on his mobile phone. And Nanel completes his words. And he tells him that he has a tablet that can imitate a face and a sound. It is possible to imprint his voice from the eye cup. They stole it in any way. Then they can open the safe and steal the egg easily. After a while, they reach the palace, and disguise themselves as mourners, so that no one recognizes them. By chance, John notices that Bicho is in the palace, so he goes to talk to her and tells her that he will not leave her. Other than when he was arrested to prove his innocence from the crime that she committed, and then he dances with her in order to draw Suta's attention to her and make him dance with her. Indeed, he sees it turning black, and he leaves his cup on the tray, which no one is holding. And he goes to ask John to dance with Bisha. So John agrees and messes with him as he walks. And he steals his mobile phone without feeling black. At that time, Detective Doss will be present at the party and monitor him. After a while, he and Nanel go to the safe in which the egg is. And they put the fingerprint of the face, hands, and the secret number. But before they opened the safe, they found the detective standing behind them, threatening them with a gun, and telling John that if he wanted to prove his innocence, he would put the handcuffs in Nanel's hands and arrest him. But he refuses and drops the gun from her hands and enters the safe. He and Nolan lock it on them from the inside. Suddenly, they meet someone living in the room, and you tell them that there is a secret door in the safe, through which you entered. And then you attack them and beat them both. You put the handcuffs in their hands, so you take the egg and give it to the arms dealer. And it turns out that she was in agreement with him to hand them over to him. And this is so that they know from Nanel the location of the third egg, so they stop them and start electrocuting John and suffocate him in order to force Nanel to confess to the location of the egg. Indeed, Nanel admits that the third egg is in a hidden room in Egypt inside the Pyramid of Khufu, and this room contains the sarcophagus of Queen Cleopatra. Because I know where the egg is. But you put an anesthetic in the drink. She steals the second egg from him and then takes it and walks, and when he is over he takes his weapon and keeps shooting at John while he is not conscious until a shot comes in the bitches. The one who is tied to it and unfastens himself and beats Sotoa. So he decides to leave Nanel satisfied and goes to search for Bicho. He tells him that he lied to her and that the third egg is not in Egypt or anything. And that he must dismantle it so that they can go and get the third egg. At that time, he will be able to claim his innocence. So John is convinced of his words and dismantles him, and they leave the place. And they are surprised that they are in the Tehran wrestling ring. And suddenly the tour comes and hits John, so they both run into the ring until they run away. And then they ride the train to go to the place of the third egg. And they ask John, "How did you know her whereabouts?" He tells him that his father was looking for the third egg and that he had traveled to many countries to find out its location. On his trip, he bought an old watch belonging to a German general from Hitler, and General Dot was the last one to see the third egg, before it disappeared. But the strange thing is that his father. That's why no one got complicated from this hour and broke it as soon as his father died, and I was surprised that the coordinates of the location of the third egg were written on it, and I know that it is located in a deserted place in the Argentine forests, and they actually travel there and enter the deserted place and find a room full of stolen Egyptian treasures and antiquities, including a box with Cleopatra written on it. And they actually find that the egg is inside it. But suddenly they find that they are standing behind them. And she tells them that she has been watching them since early. And she knows that Nanel was lying to her. So she threatens them with the gun and orders them to hand her the egg. And before she takes it from them, the detective Doss comes and hits him with fire, so they ride the car in front of them and run away from it until they fall from the waterfall, and the investigator is unable to jump behind them, and then Nonel comes out of the water with the egg, and notices that John did not come out of the water, so he decides to leave the egg and goes down to look for it, but he finds him standing and he wouldn't believe that Nonel gave up the egg to save him, and while they were talking, they would find it coming out of the water. And Nonel will be happy to finally defeat her. And he and John took the third egg. But he is surprised that Bicho remains John's girlfriend and that they work together. And they made the whole charade, knowing from him the location of the missing egg. And after they finished talking, they grabbed him in the tree, took the egg from him, and ran away. And the next day they go to Cairo to deliver the egg to the Egyptian billionaire at his daughter's wedding. John tells the Peshwa that they have received $300 million in their account. But suddenly, the investigator comes and arrests the Egyptian billionaire on charges of possessing stolen antiquities. The important thing is that after 6 months, we see John and Petro while they are on their yacht. They find that Nonel is coming out of the yacht and tells them that he leaked their account data to the investigator, Doss. It was estimated that it would confiscate $1 million with their awareness. And now they are broke, and he finally offers them a new robbery, and when they agree, they go to the Louvre Museum.